Mr. Moeller has to leave done today. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do anything.
Well, we have Josh, John, me, you.
Yeah, we're going to lose John at like 11, I think. And Josh isn't
we
on
have
the
Chris
board.
Gill. So.
Yeah, and Josh isn't on the board, so we're.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, we're riding by the seat of our pants here.
Let's ride quickly.
Yes, let's do what we got to do and get it done.
Put on your auctioneer.
I'm trying to see. I know that we have to approve a delegate list. So what I'm going to do is, I will take before we approve the agenda, I will entertain a motion to move item 9 up to.
Moved.
Item 5. But hold on, because we're not there yet. 1 second. All right, so I'm going to call this meeting to order at 10:04 a.m. If the secretary would take the roll for me, that would be awesome. And my computer's dying. That's not good.
Sure. All right. We've got Jim Cavoli, who is not present, and then Dustin Nana.
Here.
I take you are present. John Moeller.
Here.
Howdy. And then myself, Chris Gill, is present. Derek Strelo.
Here.
All right. And then Drake Lundstrom, not present. And Derek Taff, not present, correct?
Correct.
Cool. That is our roll then.
Okay. Let me get my laptop up and going here. Died on me. Must not have turned it off when I closed the clamshell.
I'm going to have a question about seating the delegation and credentialing. Do they have to be current in order to be seated?
They have to be current with national, yes, if that's what you're asking.
So we're going to lose a number of people with that.
Okay, and we could seat them in the understanding that they're going to buy a membership.
They have to be current before.
They have to be current as of, well.
Can you be on the alternate list?
I want to say they would have to be current when we turn the list in.
40 days.
Yeah, because that's when it'll get finalized with national.
Okay.
So
as I reach out and confirm people are going before I submit the final list, I would just confirm them.
Yeah, that would be the thing to do. Thank you for working on that, by the way. Appreciate it. A lot of stuff going on, and anything that can be done by folks other than myself and Jim is always much appreciated. All right. Now that I got my agenda back up, any conflicts of interest to be disclosed today?
Are we streaming?
He said he set up the stream, so I'm assuming so, yeah. So I'm not hearing any conflicts of interest to be disclosed. We'll move to approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion, as discussed earlier, to move our business up to the next item so that we can get it done before we lose quorum.
I'll second.
I wasn't making it, but I'll make the motion.
I will move to. I will make a motion at this time to move item 9A up to. Where do you want it, Dustin?
Right after this, item 6.
Item 6. Okay.
Or actually, item 5 rather. But yeah.
Item 5, yeah.
Okay, and then I heard a second from Mr. Gill.
Yeah.
Any opposition to doing so? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second, if you need it.
I do. There's a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any opposition to approving the agenda as amended? Not hearing any, so that is how we will proceed. Next item of business will be seating our delegates for national then. Ms. Gilson.
Because of the number of affiliates that we have now, our priority list has grown.
Mhm.
we can fully seat the delegation and the alternates just based on the priority listed by Law 500. And then as I reach out, if they don't become compliant for membership or are not going, I can move up anyone. So we really, what I'm trying to say is we can do this in one vote if you want to. We could say strictly by bylaw 500, one vote, say yes, and then
Let me just pull up the bylaw just so that I'm,
I have it up too.
yeah, just in case. I want to make sure. Let's see here.
Point of information.
Yes, sir.
Miss Gilson, did you see the chat in the general room yesterday regarding Chair Sprankle's ruling on who is and is not eligible?
I did.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was part of this list.
Get down to 500 real quick. 500 national conventions. Yeah, because P is just other members as approved by this committee. I'm personally okay with doing it this way so long as we email at least a portion of the people who applied who aren't on the delegate list and letting them know, hey, this doesn't mean you're not able to come. We will circle back to you soon and let you know is there space for you.
It will be in a matter of days. Because it's just following up a couple of people. So.
Okay.
Can I ask how big is how many slots do we have and how big is our list?
We have 39 primary and 50 alternate. And
Dang.
right now with the priority list, just going by priority, let me get down to the bottom of the list. Just going by priority, we're well over what is that, 83, 93, whatever.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong. I think we can seat as many alternates as we want, so it shouldn't be an issue if we are over.
With the alternates and the others that have applied, we're at 123 names right now. So we're
Including,
Okay.
So with priority and the alternates?
yes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So that's why I say we can do it in one just with priority, and as people can't go, I'll keep moving people up.
Okay. Since there's only 4 of us, it would be my ruling that this has to pass unanimously. So, and I'll entertain a motion from the floor if this is how we want to proceed. If not, now would be the time to speak up. Not hearing anybody. Is there a motion?
Works for me.
I'll move to accept this method as described by Ms. Gilson.
Okay. So for the secretary's sake,
Yeah.
what we are seating, motion to seat delegates to the national convention based upon the strict priority list, whether or not they've applied to be a delegate,
As outlined in bylaw.
as
500.
outlined in bylaw 500. And then
All right.
with moving people up if people don't accept. Because if we make the motion this way and don't include the people who have applied who haven't had priority, then we would have to make another motion at a later date to put them back on the list.
I guess my question would be then if those currently accepted are not eligible or decline, does this motion cover how we start adding the alternates in? Or is it still through priority?
Once the XCOM seats the delegation, then the delegation chair just manages that themselves.
Okay. I'm doing it. All right. Yeah. That rings a bell. Cool. All right. I'll second the motion.
Okay. We have a motion for Mr. Strelo and a second by Mr. Gill. Is there any discussion or can we move to a vote? Not hearing any discussion. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? Not hearing any opposition. It's been moved. Okay, passed it. I think that's all of the pressing business that we have today. If there is any other new business, now would be the time, since we're going to lose quorum here in about 45 minutes.
We had Drake posted something in the chat yesterday.
Warren County.
Regarding Warren County,
I didn't. It was
Yes,
a resolution for something.
Yes, that's
I think
correct.
we have. Okay, I think we have a representative from Warren County on the call today.
Yes, I'm Joshua Toms. We're Michelle McCutcheon put in a request for the money for the fair booth, and we also would like our county seed money from the prior, I don't know, prior year maybe or something. I forget exactly how I should word it, but it's maybe about $400.
Okay, so you want extra money for the fair, and if you could can you direct me to where this request was sent? That way I can see it, because I have not seen it with my own eyes yet.
I believe it was sent by Tricia via email initially,
To what email box?
like to XCOM members.
I will look. How long ago was it sent? Because I don't see anything offhand.
Let me look.
Should have been about a week ago.
About a week ago. So it would have been around beginning of the month.
Request for a motion was on 3/22,
3/22. Scroll back.
and it was a forward. I can just re-forward it to you.
Please do, because I don't think I actually got it. And while she's doing that, so it's a request for the funds that you're owed plus an additional sum to pay for the booth, or is it a request for the funds you're owed plus whatever extra costs for the booth, or what exactly is the request?
The request, I think, was for half of the money for the cost for the booth, and then our county money. But
Okay,
that's
so you guys
that's just
plan
what we
on
would
paying for
like.
half.
I'm sorry.
Right, so you guys plan on paying for half out of your own funds then,
Yes.
once they were given to you. That makes sense to me. I'll waiting for this email to come in. There it is. Derek sent it to me, it looks like. The file you sent me is not opening. I don't know what that's about.
I just forwarded Trisha's email. Hold on.
It's not. I don't know. The file is
I
blank.
sent it to you as well.
Okay, let's see if Helen's version works. I still don't have it yet from her.
There's lag because you're getting 72 versions of it.
Okay, so the attachments are emails. So if you're in webmail and click on it, it will open the email.
Yeah,
You want me to forward
it's-
those
it's-
directly to you?
I whatever you sent me, it's it's got a title but no body, and the attachment is like, my phone just doesn't like it. It's blank, and when I click it, it says I can't open this file. I don't know what.
Okay,
that
try
means.
this one now.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see if Helen's ever comes in. Okay, well I got hers, so I wonder what's up with Helen's email box, because I got yours both times. All right, I've got the text of it now. 350 for spares. That's for 350 is half the fair space, or the full price, Mr. Toms?
I believe that is full price. I think so.
Okay.
Her request in total is $507.29.
So then the request is for the full amount for the fair and the disbursement of the funds. Then.
Okay.
Plus rat cards and stuff. I will refrain from debating because I'm chairing. Ms. Gilson.
I know historically we've done at least half for the county fairs, but we also, I don't want to call it a stipulation, but we strenuously suggest that we are given demonstration that someone's going to be able to man the fair booth, because it's worse to have a booth and nobody in it and just people walking by seeing The Libertarian Party doesn't exist at this booth today.
Yes, I apologize. This is something I'm supposed to say is that we do have people. There are already people signed up, and I will personally say that I guarantee we will have a full schedule.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Mr. Treasurer, do you know what the amount that they are owed is? Because that's something that,
No,
Yeah.
no, not really. Drake made a swing at it, but I don't think he exactly understood how it was set up. So I will say I do know what they were owed for the first quarter of 2022 for sure, and I can get them that money, but Drake needs to go back over all of the 2021 and redo it, what he was catching up on.
how about
And
we do
for
this
20
then? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say for 2022, it's like in the order of $40 or $50 so far, I think.
Okay. Well, considering that the 2022 alone is 450, plan if we're also going to owe them for 2021. I don't like to debate
Sorry.
from the chair, but
Sorry,
it's my
50.
Sorry, I said 40 or 50.
40 or 50. Okay. I was going to say that sounds like a lot, but I'll trust you. Are they even going to have enough to pay for half of it then if we give them their money, I guess? I mean, it's kind of hard to pass this motion not knowing what the amount is.
It'll probably be right around that. But I will say, outside of the treasurer role, I'm not at all opposed to for all counties saying that we'll split 50% of fair booths with counties that say that they'll man a fair booth for the whole time and cover the other half themselves.
Ms. Gilson?
The potential exists that we could also just give them the entire amount and make it an arrears on their ongoing credit, the catch up and their ongoing. They won't get paid out because
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, here's what I would prefer personally, speaking not as the chair right now. I would personally prefer that we disperse the funds that we owe them and then separately give them 50% of the booth and then let them figure out the rest on their own. I think we can do that right now without having to make a separate motion down the road, because we can just say disperse the funds that they're owed. That doesn't have to have a dollar amount on it, and then we have a dollar amount for what they're asking for.
Yeah, can I jump in? I don't think we need a motion to disperse the funds to them.
I don't think so either. I think it just needs to be done.
Definitely. Yeah. So would the chair of Warren County just email me and copy Jim and maybe Dustin too and request that? And I will reply to you with what we know you're owed now and a rough estimate of what you'll get from catch up in 2021 when Drake catches up on it. So just send Josh, if you could, you or Mark or somebody, send me an email and we'll work on getting you the money.
Will do.
Outside
Thank
of
you.
the fair.
just point of fact, Warren affiliated in September of 21, so it's not going to be a full year anyway. That was part of the calculation problem.
Right.
So
Okay.
So would a motion at this time to approve covering half of their booth costs be in order?
It would.
yes,
Half of their ask. It's actually for more than the booth.
Yes, half of their ask, yes.
I'll give you the exact dollar total. It would be $253.15. Oh, no,
Okay.
I'm sorry, $253.65.
Okay, I move to allocate $253.65 to Warren County to cover half of the costs to operate a fair booth and materials.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this? Not hearing any. Is there any opposition to this motion? Also not hearing any. Congratulations, enjoy your fair booth.
Thank you,
What,
everyone.
out of curiosity, Mr. Toms, what's your deadline to apply? And when is the fair?
The fair is in June, I believe, maybe July. I can get that to you. I assure you.
I'm not worried about it. I was just curious, and then I'm just curious what the deadline to apply is. I want to make sure that we get you this money in plenty of time.
Absolutely. I will get all required information for you.
And then if you could, since you're the fella working on the schedule for the people, go ahead and email me the people who are going to be manning the booth when you get a chance. No rush.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Gilson.
Mr. Lindstrom has posted that there's someone in Warren who wants to comment.
Can they join the meeting so that I can let them do so?
Drake is asking, can I send a WebEx to that person?
I think he may be
yeah, it's a
referring to
public
me.
room. Well, if he's not referring to you, let's find out. I guess we'll take a
I
couple
did.
seconds. And
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if maybe Michelle was watching the YouTube and wanted to add something.
she's pretty much the only one that does, so that would be a good guess. I guess, yeah, if you want to let him know, either ask him if he's referring to Mr. Toms or if there's someone else. It's a public room, so yeah, they're more than welcome to be given the meeting link.
I didn't think it was going to be Michelle. She's supposed to be doing something else.
She might be in Texas at their convention. I'm not sure. I know they're having their convention this weekend.
I think it's the baby's birthday.
That's also important.
Mr. Ed.
Oh, Mr. Ed?
Yeah.
While we're waiting to see if it's Mr. Toms that he's talking about, are there any other pressing issues right now? Or we think that might be the last thing? I know there's a non-business issue that Mr. Cavoli needs to take care of when he gets the chance. Our Caldera form for delegates is, I guess, giving some kind of token error. I looked at the back end of it. I don't know how to fix it.
I have two people that have not been able to use it that I'm just collecting their information and the
Thank
time
you.
that I've received it, so.
Thank you. And if we have to later on go manually enter their name, we can do that.
Well, after today, it's gonna be up to me anyway, so.
Okay.
So if anyone was not able to use the form, you could just direct them to me.
Thank you for wrangling all that. What's the next item on business while we're waiting here, since I'm not hearing any other actual business? The officer reports, so officer reports would be, actually approval of minutes from the previous meeting would be the next item of business. Do we have minutes from the previous meeting, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, they are on. I just uploaded them in the meeting folder for our
Excellent.
meeting date.
Perfect. That is the right thing to do. I appreciate that.
Right. And then I realized we've got a separate secretaries folder, so I'll start populating that when I think
It might
about
honestly, yeah, at your own
To me,
leisure,
it's a
but
redundancy, but
to me, it's better to have it in the meeting. That way, if I was
Right.
a layperson and didn't know how we operated, and I was just poking around in there, I would go to that meeting and see is there minutes under that file.
Well, in the secretary's folder, one of those publishes to the website.
Oh,
So that's where the
okay.
approved minutes are supposed to go. There should be a folder in there, and that is shared with the website. That's something.
Okay.
well, maybe that's where I can share these minutes once we approve them. Then
At least that's how it worked in CENTCOM. I believe they're both set up the same way.
That would make sense. Okay.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes. I have not read them, so I'm not going to make that motion myself.
I feel sketchy approving my own minutes. But
You can
I
make
guess-
the motion.
I would say I'll motion to approve, and then I'd take any friendly amendments to them in between business. I don't think that's too out of order. Just I make
No,
typos.
in any, yeah, I would say approval with the caveat that if there's something that needs changed, we'll take care of it.
Just chat at me, and I will fix them.
Is there a second?
I'll motion to approve. Then anyone?
I'll second.
Dustin, you
Is there-
second.
We have a motion and a second. Any opposition to approving the minutes? Not hearing any, so. Cool. All right. Business conducted between meetings. I had none. Somebody can correct me. That's cool. Ms. Gilson?
Drake was new and didn't know where to post this, but he had posted to CENTCOM. Can we start looking at a committee to organize the conference for next year?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is that something that we can start
Sure.
talking about?
Sure. Let's. The easiest thing to do, I would say, would be to structure it and then go solicit names. So, how many people do we want to be on it, and then go from there. So I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
What would the motion be? Beg your pardon.
However the body wants it to be. I'm seeking a motion to create a conference committee for planning next year's conference. Basically, up to you guys how you want to structure it. Essentially, you're just picking the number of people on the committee at this point. Historically, it's been 5.
I was just gonna say, I'll move to create the conference oversight committee with a body of 5 members.
Is there a second?
Sure. And we're just voting to form the committee. We don't need to know who's on it right now.
Correct. We will solicit applications or what have you.
This is
Going
for
forward.
2023.
This is for next year, correct?
All right. I'll second that then.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just curious,
Yes.
so this is my first time on XCOM dealing with conference. Is this location chosen, the part of Ohio chosen by the committee we're creating, or is that decided upon by XCOM?
It is what the part with everything. We could override them since we're their controlling committee, but usually we let them handle it.
Okay.
I will, if I end up being on the committee or if I'm not, I will strongly recommend that we hold it somewhere we haven't been recently, but that is also at least accessible to most people in the state. I've had loose conversations with folks that are interested in serving on the committee for next year. And myself and them have batted around the idea of maybe the Dayton area. We haven't been to Southwest in a while. We were just Northwest in Toledo a couple of years ago. We've been in Central for the convention and the conference recently. We were in Northeast, not super recently, but more recently than we've been in Southwest. It's been a long time since we've touched that portion of the state. And, it's just nice to move the conference around for people. Yes.
I think it would be cool to have it in Plymouth or Harrison, one of the 2 cities we have city councilmen.
Yeah, if there's adequate place to hold it, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Sounds like you're going to volunteer to be on the committee.
Absolutely, especially if it's Harrison, because it's my backyard. So
Yeah. That's totally fine. But anyhow, we're off track. So there was a motion and a second to create this committee. Is there any discussion on the number of people that should be on it?
Is it up to 5? I'll put that in the motion.
I would. Well, who made the motion? It was Mr. Strela, right? Did you
Yeah, up to
Streeler made
5.
the-
at 5? Did you set it at 5?
I
That was a
said it at 5.
suggestion.
I'm open to amendment to change the language to up to 5. So
I
it doesn't
would-
force require a
I would-
filling if there's a vacancy.
It would be easier to just set it at a number. I'll tell you that.
Okay, that's what I did originally, so we'll just leave it at that.
Okay,
Okay.
5 it is then. That's what I heard. All right. Any other discussion on the amount? I'm not hearing any. So we'll move to a vote. Any opposition to creating this committee with 5 members? I am not hearing any. So we will solicit applications for this committee following the meeting or during. If somebody wants to, it sounds like we have one person that at least would like to have a say. All right. So that'll take us to officer reports, activity updates, and comments. Since Mr. Moeller has to go, I'm going to start officer reports with the treasurer report. Is there anything for you to report, or is there anything in your report that you want to touch on that we can't read on our own?
No, there's not a ton. We have about $50,000 cash on hand. Our donations are trailing significantly compared to what we budgeted in previous years, so extra fundraising will be helpful. And we have 2 FEC reports and 2 State of Ohio reports due in the next 2 weeks, which is where most of my time will be over the next 2 weeks.
I appreciate your efforts on that front. Not something I would ever want to do.
Lots of fun.
So if that's the totality of your report, I will move on. So Jim's not here to give a chair's report. In terms of the vice chair report, there's really not a ton going on that we're not already about to go talk about later in the meeting. We got a convention coming up. Please, please, please tell people and get them to sign up. We will talk about that more later. Is there anything to report from the office of the secretary?
I am chipping away at the old meeting minutes. It looks like we don't have anything for 2021, or we didn't.
That seems to
So
be.
if there's any hiding, let me know before I
There might
rewrite
be
them.
there might be some hiding from the beginning part of the year when we had a secretary.
At some point, you know, to be fair, it's probably just faster, just redoing them. So I'm chipping away at them. I uploaded a couple on the drive. I'll shoot you guys a message if I get all of them. I think it'd be silly to kind of do
Are
an
there any
approval
that
piece
we
by
can?
piece.
Are there any that are finished that we can just approve now so we can start getting them up on the website? I know we're at an extreme delay right now. So
Let me look. I know 925, and we had one in December. I've got minutes up for those, but that was an unofficial meeting because of quorum. So I
yeah,
don't
that
think
doesn't have
counts.
to be published. That's fine. It's not.
And I think there were
925
only
is
2. We didn't have it.
the September 25th meeting is all ready to go.
Okay.
And posted in the file if you guys want to quick approve those.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to do so.
I'll motion we approve the September 25th, 2021 meeting minutes.
Okay.
Anyone want a second?
I heard a second.
Yeah.
Any opposite or any discussion on that or opposition?
Where are they located?
I think he said he put them in the folder for the actual meeting.
Yeah, in theory, they're in that folder, so if they're not, let me know, because that's where I uploaded them to, but I don't know if that's just on my end, so.
It's probably in there if you did it. I am not hearing any opposition to approving these. So we will consider them approved, and then once you figure out where to upload them so that they auto upload to the website,
Yep.
we can do so.
And I,
Get
like I
those
said,
up.
it's, I'm
I'm
going
looking
through the other
now
one,
for
so.
where that folder is, just, Chris. I'm also looking to see if any of the other minutes are hiding on drive somewhere.
All right.
And
Well,
thank you. Thank you for your efforts on catching up on that
Yep.
stuff. I know it was not your responsibility and then got thrust on
Yeah,
you after
whatever.
you were elected.
Thank
so.
you.
So yes, it's
Yeah,
appreciated.
no worries. It's just, they'll get there eventually, so.
Yep.
All right,
No
cool.
stress. I appreciate it. Let's see. We did chair, vice chair. I forgot to mention, and while Mr. Toms is here, I talked to Mr. Tom's treasurer either yesterday or the day before, about cleaning up his antidote donation form and how to make that look pretty, and also gave her the rundown on the basics of campaign finance reporting for a local race. I'm very excited by Mr. Tom's candidacy. I would like to personally thank you for stepping up to run. It's being a candidate can be very stressful. So we certainly appreciate people who do so.
Thank you.
And I don't think they have a website yet. But is your election this year or next year, Mr. Thompson?
2023, and
Oh, good. You're starting
Michelle.
early.
Yes, and Michelle and I have just worked out. I got a donation a week or so ago, I think, from Derek, and we're about to get our website.
Excellent. Yeah, you'll get one from me here soon once I recover from paying for 5 million different conventions and such.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You probably get more than one in the course of the time that you're running. Would like to encourage anybody who wants to be involved in a campaign to help him out. I know we don't have a ton of campaigns going on right now, since we don't have ballot access, and we really haven't had a ton of people step up to run for statewide office this year. So I'm sure he will certainly appreciate all of the efforts of the people who helped them. And like I said, we want to support our candidates. That's all I got. I think that's the end of the officer reports. So that'll take us to LNC region/national update. There's still not a ton going on at national. We recently, the EPCC approved a contract for a new development director. I think her name is Gabrielle Cordova. I might be misremembering exactly her name, but it's something along those lines. That contract just came through yesterday. So we will have a development director again. So that's awesome. We have no upcoming meetings except for the one at National Convention in Reno. So that's really pretty much everything that's going on. We had a motion to recognize one of the Massachusetts groups that was rolled out of order. The direction I got from the chairs on that was to abstain or to uphold the ruling. It was mixed. So I just ended up abstaining because there was no strong direction either way. It was 2 chairs uphold, 1 chair not uphold, and Jim was like, yeah, you know how I feel, just kind of stay out of it. So I ended up abstaining myself. The motion did not pass to overturn the ruling in the chair. So the ruling was that it was out of order. I would bet my life that there will be an appeal to the JC. I know there are people already soliciting signatures for it. And I think there would have been an appeal no matter how that vote went. If the ruling was overturned and we passed the motion, there would have been an appeal too. It's just kind of unfortunately where we're at right now with the state of the National Party. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't even know that we're going to get that appeal finished by the time the National Convention happens. We'll see what happens. I think it's sad, but we're probably going to have multiple state parties with duplicate delegations, and so their delegations will be challenged probably on both sides. Hopefully that doesn't tie us up too long at National Convention, but that seems to be a likelihood at this point. But the board itself, outside of those 2 things, really isn't doing too much right now. Just kind of in a holding pattern until we finish our term here in about a month and a half. I'll take any questions, comments, or concerns on National Party stuff at this time. Not hearing anything, so we'll move on to political. Mr. Khan.
I have not uploaded a report. I was working on it and my computer froze and I did not find the time to rework it. There wasn't that much change as far as legislation from 3 weeks ago. Updates that I have. One, there was a successful afternoon of activism at the State House by one of our local activists, Cindy Brown, who recently graduated from the Dream Corps Justice Van Jones organization and held a day of empathy. We did have one Libertarian speaker, Hannah Cubbins from Franklin County there, who spoke. She's involved with the Ohioans to Stop Executions.
Okay.
And presented there, and that was a kind of went through a circuitous route starting from AJ Olding in Hamilton County, where we had a speaker, where we got that all connected. I know Warren County has a speaker coming up at their meeting next week. I believe Michael Hiles on cryptocurrency.
That's a good one. That's worth driving for.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting one, and I encourage people to attend that. I think one of the big things as far as legislation, we now have a Don't Say Gay bill in the Ohio House. I think this is an issue that touches quite a few areas where the Libertarian Party of Ohio can set itself apart from the duopoly, and we should probably have a statement covering our position on that bill, how it touches school choice and things of that nature. I don't know who the appropriate person to craft that is, if it's the XCOM, if it's me, if it's communications,
Whoever.
but I think that's something that we should work on and send out as best we can.
Yeah, I think personally, this is a great time to illustrate the fact that our approaches aren't necessarily pro or con to what the schools teach, but rather that this is why the state shouldn't be mandating what's taught anyhow. Because, there may be parents who don't want to teach their children these things,
Yep.
and they shouldn't have to have their children taught stuff like this. There may be parents that want their children to be taught these things earlier on in life, and they should also have that option. It shouldn't be, a straight up, you're
Yep.
either getting taught this or you're not. If we had more school choice, if we had less government involvement in curriculum, we would not run into these issues nearly as often. So
Absolutely.
I think somebody wants to write a statement along those lines. It'll be well received by this committee, and we can get it approved officially and disseminated on the places that we publish sorts of things like that. So thank you for your continued work in political. Question: do you know what day that Michael Hiles event is?
13.
The 13th. So a
Yeah.
week. Well,
Wednesday?
not a week from today. Wednesday this week. Do you know what time?
I want to say
Mr. Toms, do
Yes,
you have
just
a,
after. Yeah, it should be just after business. We're hoping on 7:30.
Okay, so evening time.
Yeah.
And where is it? What's the location?
Doc's Place in Lebanon, Ohio.
Okay, awesome. Cool. If you want to shoot me the information on that, I'll share it on the state page.
I'll tag you on that right now.
Okay.
Okay,
So
we'll do.
maybe we can we'll get some people out to that. Good work on getting that set up. That'll take us to communications. As of last night, I don't remember seeing a report for communications. I don't think we have our communications director on the call today. So unless somebody has a comment or concern about communications.
Mr. Chair, there's one thing I neglected to add to my report,
Sure.
which is important. I'm happy to announce that we've added a deputy director for candidates and campaigns.
Oh, excellent.
Travis Irvine
Oh, wow.
will be
All
handling
right.
that. And for most of us know Mr. Irvine. For those who don't, he's been a candidate in Ohio for both governor and at the federal level and at the state level.
And the city level.
And at city level, yeah, Mayor of Bexley. He's also been an activist in campaigning at the Frontier Project, and I think that as we work towards ballot access and hopefully have more people put up their hands to have candidacies at different level, his expertise and experience will help us greatly.
Yeah, and it's not an endorsement of the organization by any means, because I don't have the power to do so. But he did recently start a new organization as well called HeadPack, Homebound Entrepreneurs Against DeWines.
Yep.
It's quite comical. I encourage you to Google it and look at their logo. It's a trip for sure. In typical Travis fashion, he has found a way to poke fun at something that is indeed serious at its core. And hopefully, he will find success with that endeavor, because I don't think any of us here are too big of fans of the DeWines. So thank you. Thank you for letting me know about the deputy. That's great news.
Speaking of ballot access, Marty Kahn, his son, who's going to OU, is going to
OSU.
help us. OSU.
Even better.
Is going to help us with ballot access petition validations.
Oh, excellent. Okay, cool.
He's right now majoring political science with a BS, a science part, and really interested in analytics, and he's going to help volunteer, I know, at least do the credentialing part to make sure the signatures match up.
I am happy to train anybody on how to do it. I had to do so much of it.
Right down the road.
Good.
So.
When they start rolling in, I will sit down with him and show him how to do it super quickly. Hopefully by then we can get our validator tool either up and running again, or something, because currently we're limited to using the state's validator, which is lacking. We can't search by address, which is a big one that we need, because sometimes the signature is illegible, or sometimes part of the signature is illegible, and we also can't search partial first names on the state validator. We have to have the full name.
And it has to be spelled exactly the same way.
Correct. It has to be spelled exactly the same way. You can get away with doing like the first letter of the first name and then the last name and then looking through the list, but again, that's a little bit more arduous. The easiest way is to do street and address, because that's usually at least more legible than the person's name. If that's not up by then, it might make the task a little bit more difficult, but we will get it figured out. Going back to communications, like I said, I don't think we have a report. Our director is not here currently. Are there any comments or concerns about communications at this time? I'm not hearing anything. That'll take us to finance. Our finance director let me know he wasn't going to be here today. He's also, of course, on this committee. I think there is a finance report uploaded if you would like to go look at it. It should be in the meeting folder for today's meeting. Any comments, questions, or concerns on that report or finance in general?
I just want to thank his deputy director, Cooper, for all the work that went into getting that caught up, because that was a lot.
Yeah.
I think that we should stop calling those processes that run on the internet bots and start calling them Coopers, because it was not a human effort that was done.
Certainly, yes. I'm not sure what methods they used to catch us up, but whatever they did, it was very fast. Very fast. So maybe they indeed are a robot. I don't know. It's possible. I guess we'll have to ask Mr. Lundstrom. But yes, sincere thanks for that. It was a human's effort for sure. I forget exactly how many people Drake said it was, but I believe it was like 1,000 or something entries to catch up.
A lot.
So it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. If there are no other comments, concerns, or questions about finance, that'll take us to IT. Our acting IT director is not here as well. I don't think there was an IT division report. I can give a small update on the most pressing IT need, well, not really a need, but project that's going on right now, which is the CRM switch to national. We haven't begun yet because we were waiting on Texas. There may be, Texas is wrapping up, I think, sometime this week. There may be a couple of other states in front of us in the queue. There were some, figure out how to put this politically correct. There were some issues in understanding with the current IT contractor at National about our switchover, which are being dealt with by myself, the vice chair of the National Party, and the executive director. I'm going to set up a call with the national executive director probably sometime this coming week to make sure that our intentions are understood, and that we are not trying to like buy access to jump the queue or anything crazy like that. We just need to know when it's going to happen so that we can be ready to do it. Outside of that, not a ton to report on that. Ken graciously was helping myself set up essentially a copycat unpublished version of our website, so that when we are ready to switch, we don't have to build the website. We can just point the DNS to the new website, and it should look pretty much exactly like the website that we already have. Nobody will really know the difference except for us. And then really the only thing that'll be done once the website is built on our end is the data export, and then they will do the import from national side to get us onto the CRM, and then we will have access to all the data that we import plus nationals data. We can hit the ground running, hopefully, once that change takes place. That's pretty much it from IT. I'm just a layperson when it comes to IT, so I can't really go into much detail on any of the other issues, other than the fact that I know there's an issue with our delegates form on the website that it's currently not accepting applications. It gives you some sort of a token error when you go to submit. I looked at the back end. I can't figure out why it's spitting out an error. So we will work on getting that fixed as soon as possible. Hopefully on a day when Mr. Cavoli hasn't been up till 3 a.m. the night before. And in the meantime, I believe Ms. Gilson has volunteered to, since she's delegation chair, keep track of anybody who wants to be a delegate. So if you want to be a delegate for state or national and have not yet filled out the form, or aren't sure if you filled out the form, please send an email to helen.gilson@lpo.org, and she will handle it from there. She's keeping track of the timestamps and whether or not you want to attend national or state. And then I believe she's also going to circle around and confirm with people who may have applied earlier on, hey, are you still planning on coming? Which convention? Please let us know so that we can then get our delegate priority completely ironed out by the time the 40-day deadline for national is. And then, of course, by the time our convention coming up here in a few weeks. And Ms. Gilson raised her hand. I don't know if I touched on the point she was going to talk about.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, awesome. All right.
So I have my hand up also, Dustin.
Yeah, I don't know how to look at that. So thanks for chiming in. I just see a white screen here. I don't know how to work Jim's iPad. Yeah, what's up, Mr. Estrella?
Well, regarding IT, two things. Mr. Cavoli did about a half an hour ago ask in chat if the form is indeed still broken since he fixed it 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
It's broken as of today. And I think it's a different issue than last time.
I just thought someone might want to reply to him in there. Maybe he's paying attention to that at the moment. And since AV falls under IT, I would just like to put out a call to anyone who's listening who may want to help operate cameras at convention. We're not live streaming, but we are recording for prosperity. And since I'm going to have other responsibilities, if I could get 2 or 3 people who can make sure the cameras are rolling, framed every once in a while and stuff like that, that would be appreciated.
Thank you for bringing that up. And that reminds me, this is something I should have brought up earlier, and I completely forgot. We need to purchase a projector for the convention because the price that I was quoted for the projector package by the AV people is totally out of this world. I don't even want to tell you what it is and how stupid the quote was. So we do get 20% off of that. I went ahead and did the math. It's still crazy. It's about the price that we would pay to buy a new projector anyhow. We would then also probably need to find whiteboards, but I think we have those whatever you call them, the backdrops for what we're going to project onto. Yeah, screens. I need to have a motion from this body so that we don't have to wait days and days on the chat and then afterward go out and procure this item, to set aside some sum of money to buy a projector. And then we will never have this problem again because we'll have our own projector. I found my friend has a projector. Go ahead.
I found a unit that I shared in chat last week that was around $1,300. That looks more than ample for our needs. I don't know if anyone else had looked at that or not.
I hadn't seen that one specifically, no. as far as myself, I was hunting down with friends and family if anybody had a projector, just in case we were unable to procure one in time. I do know somebody that has a mid-level projector that will probably work in a pinch, but it's only 3,000 lumens, so we might have to dim the lights just a little bit. But you know, if we absolutely have to, we can use his. But we'll still need to get screens. But I would like to have a motion today for whatever sum this body thinks is appropriate to procure a projector and some screens if we don't already have screens. I know we have a couple here, but I don't do AV and stuff, so I'm not sure exactly what the size of those screens are.
I would like to make a motion at this time then to allocate $3,000 for the purchase of a projector and screens to be best determined by our IT department as quickly as possible.
Yes. So is there a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to acquire a projector and screens in the amount of $3,000. Is there any discussion on this motion?
I only wish I could vote on it because it's such a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's going to be unanimous. We'll see.
I also do have an older, smaller projector that I will bring along as a backup in case we need to set up a secondary screen for, you know, Constitution bylaws discussions or something like that.
Excellent. So there's a motion on the floor. Any discussion on it? Not hearing any. Is there any opposition to allocating $3,000 to acquire these materials? Not hearing any. So it is approved. Go forth and do your thing, AV/IT.
I will look and work with Jim Cavoli as our acting IT director. We'll come up with something as soon as we can.
Okay. And yeah, we've got to get a move on it because we're 3 weeks out. That'll take us to convention, coincidentally. So the convention, our room block deadline has now passed. There's some confusing info from the hotel. My math says that we had to book 56 rooms, and we booked 41, which means we would be on the hook for 15 rooms, which is roughly $2,000. But then I got an email from the hotel themselves that says your room rate is 100% booked. Here's the PDF. So what I'm hoping is that they're just being nice and saying, okay, 41 out of 56 required. We're just going to not come after you for it. I don't know. I asked for clarification. I didn't receive any as of yesterday. So we'll see if she gets back to me on Monday. I think they're entering a busy season because it's taking a couple of days for each of my emails to be replied to by the sales rep. Outside of that, tickets. Please tell people to buy tickets. We are now past the early bird deadline, unfortunately. But I think we've given adequate notice to people that, hey, early bird's ending. You know, please buy your tickets. We've had our tickets up, not as long as we've wanted to, but they've been up about 4 weeks now, I think. And we are right around $6,000 in ticket sales right now. I would like to see us get to at least about 10,000 by the time the event comes. I think that'll be much closer to our break even. Our food and beverage is $5,500. And that's the majority of the ticket costs anyhow. So where we're at right now, I want to say we're approaching our food and beverage, and then any alcohol that people buy at the cash bar on Saturday will go towards that. Also, when we pay the bill for the setup of the cash bar, that goes towards that. We have a set cost for the buffet on Friday, so that'll go towards it. That's my next main concern, is that we meet that minimum so that we're not on the hook for money for food we don't use. If we get 3 days out from the event and it looks like we're not going to hit our minimum, I'm telling them to make the food anyhow because we're paying for it anyhow. Right. And then we will figure out, you know, hey, I noticed you didn't buy a food ticket tonight. Do you want to come in and have food? Please donate on the website right now and we'll give you a plate. And hopefully we can recoup some of that cost that way. Hopefully we don't get to that point. But sales are down this year, certainly for our convention. I'm not sure if that's because we don't have a ton of business or if it's just the economy right now with, you know, inflation being absolutely out of control. Thank you, Federal Reserve, or what. But that's just where we're at. Sales are way down. You know, I'm hoping that in typical libertarian fashion, a lot of people are just procrastinating. People buying full price tickets gives us more money anyhow. So, whatever. I was hoping people would buy more early birds so we would know what situation we are in up to this point, but that has not happened. We've sold like 38 or 39 total tickets, and that's everything. The good news is we've sold a ton of vendor tables, like more than we ever have, which I don't really understand, but okay. We've sold like 7 vendor tables now, I think. I actually had to go back to the hotel and say, hey, can you bump our vendor table number up? They said, absolutely. Vendor tables come with black satin cloth and 1 chair. We might have to pull some chairs from the room if there's more than 1 person at the table. But those are costing us $25 and we're charging $50. So we're making $25 a pop every single time somebody buys a vendor table. So that's all pure profit for us. So that's nice. We are, and I think we need to probably get this onto the website because it's not currently on there, planning to have an auction. I don't know if it's on the schedule part of the website or not. Saturday night, either before or after Mr. Rainwater's speech, probably after. And then I've been telling people on Sunday, any of the LNC candidates that purchased a ticket for the Saturday night dinner or purchased a table for the full weekend can come and speak to their candidacy on Sunday. If we get enough people from any certain race, we might have a debate. Maybe not. We might just have people talk. We'll see how it goes. We're kind of playing that by ear. But as of now, there's a decent number of LNC candidates coming. I think we've got Mr. Houtman, who's running for vice chair. I don't know if Mr. Smith is coming yet or not. I think he's undecided. Connor Nepomuceno, who's running for Region 3 alternate, is supposed to be coming. Obviously, I will be there for Region 3 rep. I emailed Mr. Ellison, who's running against me, and I think he intends to come. I know he has not bought a ticket yet. And I think Ken's going to be there, who's going to run for JC this time around. Who else is coming? There's a couple of Mr. Tony DeRazio is coming. He's running for chair. So it sounds like we'll at least have 1 person for almost every office that Ohio can vote on. I invited Karen Ann. I don't know if she's coming or not. I think she's leaning towards not. It's unfortunately our convention's a little bit later, and she's going to be pretty burnt out by then. I also invited Angela McCardle. I think she's undecided, but also leaning towards not coming for the same reason, that she's just been to too many conventions and is kind of burnt out. But we'll see if those folks change their minds. And I also put an invitation out to Mr. Hagopian and Mr. Hagan, who are running for treasurer. We'll see if one of those 2 folks shows up. And we'll go from there. But we've got, probably the most amount of LNC candidates at this that we'll have ever had. So that's cool. And Mr. Rainwater is going to be great. I'm super excited to hear him speak. I've never heard him speak before, but I know without even hearing him that he's going to be a wealth of knowledge. And I think I mentioned this last time, but he is one of my favorite people in the world right now, because he said, hey, don't worry about comping me for any gas or any rooms or anything. I'm just going to come in Saturday, do my speech, and then dip out. And all I want is a plate of food. So he's one of my favorite people right now, because he is costing us like $30 to come to our convention. One of our convention committee folks is sponsoring our Friday night speaker, at least in terms of his travel and his transportation to and back from the airport. Mr. Farnham is paying for Mr. Russell. So the only thing we're on the hook for with Mr. Russell is the hotel nights. Mr. Russell's going to be here all weekend. I said, if you're going to be here all weekend, we might, ask you to do something other than just on Friday. I'm pretty sure he's open to it. So not sure exactly yet what we're going to have him do, but if he's around, I figure we might as well utilize him. That's pretty much all I can think of in terms of convention. Just want to emphasize, please tell people to buy tickets. I think everybody on this call, with maybe the exception of Mr. Toms, has already purchased a ticket, and Mr. Gill, I don't know if you 2 are able to come, but please, please, please buy tickets.
I have a few things, Justin, as well.
Go ahead, Mr. Strela.
If any of our directors or officers wish to give any kind of state of your office type of speech, I need to know so I can add it to the agenda. Probably a majority of it will be on Sunday morning. I'm looking for Jim and Trisha and John to speak Saturday. But anyone else, like political communications, anything like that, we can try and give them time on Sunday.
Mr. Strela, I don't know if I mentioned this to you yet or not, but Mr. Moeller, I believe I let Mr. Moeller know we probably want a treasurer's report as well.
Yep.
And
I spoke to
also,
him already.
we probably want all of that actually on Saturday, so that we can get all of the reports out of the way, and then business Saturday night or whatever, maybe after lunch. And then that way business carries over into Sunday. That way folks don't leave us hanging on Sunday.
That was initially my plan, yes. But I thought if we got the chair, the chairs of the two committees and the treasurer out of the way, we could move on to business, and then we could do some of the other stuff on Sunday as an informal discussion. Like I said, political communications, stuff like that. But I need a list of anybody who wishes to speak and how much time they need so I can get the agenda put together.
Yeah, you can put me down for the LNC update.
Okay.
It's going to take like 5 minutes since nothing's happening.
Okay.
Whatever.
And as far as the list of all the people that you just rattled off that are invited and that are coming, if you could send me a list also so I've got to do the official agenda for the.
You should be able to. So you should be able to look at the ticket. Go ahead.
I also have
to look at the tickets.
Informal.
I'll send you the link.
Itinerary. Yeah.
Yeah. I should be able to send you the link, and then you should be able to log in and see who's attending. Otherwise, I'll peruse the list and just tell you.
I don't know these people from out of state and people on the LNC like you do, so I could look at a list of names and not know who the fuck they are.
Oh, honestly, I was just gonna have it say on the agenda LNC candidate address or something like that. We don't have to like literally put names down in slots, if that makes it easier.
Okay, well, since I'm kind of, I guess, sharing and emceeing, I'd like a list so I can introduce people as we go along as well.
Sure, and Jim actually informed me that his life outside of this party has slowed down a little bit, so he might actually be available to chair. I don't know. That's something you have to work out with him as whether or not it is a central committee event. I would say you're next in line to chair, but you know that's something you'll have to work out. But at least it sounds like he might be available to chair while you're giving the convention or by the Constitution and bylaws.
I can hand him the gavel for Constitution and bylaws since I chaired that committee as well.
Yep.
So.
And I will give you a list of people that are coming from the LNC side of things. And I would say the easiest way to structure it would be the same way that we're going to vote for it on national chair, vice chair, officers, and just have people speak in that.
Absolutely.
Yep. Any other questions, comments, concerns about the upcoming convention?
I will be there. I have a ticket now.
Excellent. Well, thank you for attending. I look forward to meeting you in person. Let your friends and family know. See if you can drag a few of them out. I already asked my wife. She doesn't want to come. Sad face. She hates politics, so it's not really a surprise.
Point of information.
Yes.
Mr. Moeller did message a little bit ago that he was going to be dropping off in 5, and he has dropped off, so we no longer have quorum.
Yep.
So if there's any other business we can't conduct. Yes.
Right, and I don't think there is. So we're operating as a committee of the whole at this point, just kind of discussing things. I don't think there's anything else from convention. Like I said, any comments, questions, or concerns? Not hearing any. That'll take us to Constitution and bylaws. Mr. Strelo.
Well, the report was published. I guess I did it a little differently than everyone had expected. I did a side-by-side comparison of all of our current Constitution and bylaws compared to all of our proposed changes. I will work on a highlighted and struck through version to use at convention. There was a one point of contention brought up about one of the changes regarding being able to endorse other parties' candidates. I'm going to plan at convention to move to strike that because it violates the national Constitution and bylaws. But it's going to be on the agenda and it's going to be brought up because this is the approved report that's been published. I don't feel striking it as a backdoor measure now would be appropriate.
I agree, and I think, we might want to put it on the floor and explain the situation and have it amended to make it more clear so that we can endorse candidates that are in nonpartisan races.
Well, that's what the language currently says.
It's kind of, in my opinion, yes, it does, but in my opinion, it doesn't read the way I would like it to. I think it should be a little more clear.
Okay.
And because, either way. And unfortunately, I had forgotten about that national bylaw, or I would have brought it up in the meeting. None of us caught that. So
also, we had a member bring up or submit a suggestion for a change to, I think it was 500 or 510, regarding convention ticket business only tickets at either free or at cost. So that will also be added. That's outside of the committee's recommendations.
That individual will whoever.
Yep,
well,
they will present that. Yep.
Did they get? Well, here's the question: what is our, without looking, what is the requirement for submitting? I know the notification requirement.
My understanding is it's supposed to be sent to the Central Committee Secretary 30 days prior to convention.
Do you know what bylaw that is, or is that in the Constitution?
I will look and get back to you on that, but
because my only concern is, and I could be wrong, but I thought there was also a members requirement that a certain number of members had to sign on to it.
Oh,
but I could be wrong. That might have been something in the past, or I might be misremembering. I'm not seeing it in state conventions, so it looks like it might be in the Constitution. We're in committee of the whole, so give me a second. I'll just see if I can find it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I'm I guess kind of acting secretary, not really, CENTCOM. So it was sent to me. I shared it with Trisha. She agreed to put it on. So as far as I'm concerned, it's on. Unless we find a rule that says it absolutely cannot be because it didn't meet some.
Yeah, I'm looking.
I'm looking as well.
Conventions.
Yeah. Are you in bylaws or Constitution right now?
I'm in Constitution. I didn't see it in bylaws, but I might have missed it. I'm looking. I'm not seeing it in the Constitution either. I know it's in here. I just don't know where, because we specifically talked about it in our meetings.
In Constitution, it might be under miscellaneous Article 8, I believe.
Okay, let me look. Bylaw changes to be considered must be communicated in less than 30 days. I guess it's just doesn't say. That's actually a loophole that we probably should have tried to close. It doesn't even say you have to be a member. It just says bylaw changes. Let's see. But there shall be a set of bylaws in conformity with this Constitution, which may be adopted, changed, and repealed by a majority vote of the Central Committee. Blah 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 blah. B, a majority of the delegates to convention. Bylaw changes to be considered in convention must be communicated to those delegates eligible to vote upon them by reasonable and common methods, no less than 30 days prior. So I guess it doesn't say, and it doesn't even say you have to be a member, which is kind of nutty. That's all right.
Well, it was communicated to myself as the vice chair, acting secretary of CENTCOM, and that was communicated to Trisha, and she ruled it was okay. So it will be on the agenda.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to challenge the ruling because it wasn't published publicly, that's on
that
them.
at that time.
Yep. Historically, it's been up to the individual to disseminate them to the delegates, not, but I will speak on behalf of the ruling if it gets to that point, because the intent was there.
Yeah, and all I'm planning to do is, as part of business, give him time on the floor to introduce a motion to change that bylaw. Let him produce it and see what comes of it.
Yeah, and since we're in committee of the whole, and I don't have to follow Roberts, I can give my opinion on it. I think it's a terrible idea. It's gonna, even if we pass it, it's gonna have to be rewarded regardless, because we don't know what the cost is until the day of, depending on how many tickets we sell. So at cost, what does that mean? How are we going to sell tickets 3 months out at cost if we don't know what the cost is, because it changes based on how many people attend?
Right,
So-
and the language of free or at cost leaves it ambiguous, and someone would always argue for it to be free.
Correct. And
so
having a
would need to-
free convention is a nightmare. And if we go down that route, then I'm saying we have our conventions in a park gazebo for free. So we don't have, because I mean, our party is, it has always been structured in such a way that that's our fundraiser. There's no, we only do a very small amount of business there to begin with. We've got to, that's why we procure speakers and try to give extra perks to people who buy tickets so that we can, make a little bit of money and give them something in return.
Correct.
Forcing us to have it for free is really going to limit what we can do with that event.
Right.
Essentially, like I said, we're going to be in a restaurant back room or in a park, because I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, though. We'll see.
In all honesty, if this passes, my next recommendation for 2024 is going to be a restaurant back room where all we do is pay for the room, sell tickets for $10 frickin' a piece, and let them order their own.
They might have to be
own
free.
drinks and everything
We'll
else.
see.
Yeah.
It's not gonna pass.
No, we'll see. You would think it wouldn't pass because everybody there that's voting will be somebody that just bought a ticket, but I've seen crazier things happen. We'll see. I do agree that our convention this time ended up being pricier than I would have liked. Through really no fault of our own, we had the room deal that they gave us was phenomenal. The hotel room rates that they gave us with run of the room before that expired was a phenomenal rate. And then, of course, after we signed the contract, they didn't give us a single concession after that point. They did not give us 1 cent of a concession on the food. So that's where most of our cost is coming from. We're paying $40 a plate for food for people. So, and if you're getting 2 plates and 2 breakfasts, the ticket's got to be expensive because we're losing money on that.
That's just inflation, like you said, coming from the Fed. That's just normal. That's the cost of things now.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can handle the free or at cost by amending it to say cannot be free if the party is in a money losing situation on the event.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to advocate to not have it pass in any form. That way it gives the committee the freedom to do what they want.
If you look at what Democrats and Republicans spend on convention, it's millions of dollars.
Right, and their tickets are insane. When Stephen was running, and this wasn't even their dang convention, when Stephen was running, the Republicans were softly supporting him because his opponent was an endorsed and funded Democrat. And they invited us to several dinners to come meet people that might donate to his campaign. And the ticket price for the dinner was like $500.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I mean,
you can have a $500 bourbon
for one
tasting.
dinner, for one night. Yeah, one night, one dinner, $500 per person is insane,
Yeah.
And I understand a lot of these people that were complaining about the cost are newer and don't understand how these things work. But even the ticket price we came up with is very reasonable. If they were in the meetings with our committee, with Derek, myself, Mr. Farnham, and forgetting Trish and
Jim.
Mr. Cavoli, they would understand that we made these with a very minimal profit margin to begin with. I mean, we were selling them as cheap as humanly possible to make money.
Without knowing the costs, I've spoken with people saying, and we're lucky that this one is in Central Ohio because just about anybody could come and drive in and not spend a room fee if it's an issue. If it moves around, somebody's gonna be tied to having a hotel. Yeah. And the price between the ticket and the hotel is almost the same.
Right. Yeah, and we pretty much always have the convention itself in Central because we know that there's business. And we don't want to put it in Cincinnati and then somebody from Cleveland's got to drive 3-4 hours to get to the event and stay and then drive 3-4 hours back. It's cumbersome for those folks. And since there's no business at the conference and it's just like a team building / teaching event, that's why we moved that one around. And I've found, at least since I've been involved, that it's a nice formula. It gives everybody an opportunity to attend an event at some point. And now that we're coming out of COVID, hopefully this summer we can have our regional picnics again, and folks will have another opportunity to come out. And that's the cheap event. You know, we rent a park gazebo. We use the grill that's there, and somebody donates food or somebody brings food, and usually we'll say, hey, tickets are $15. If you bring a side dish, you get $10 off, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's historically been, you know, the hangout.
Yeah.
We're here
And
to
even
do-
if we wanted to try to
activities.
organize one of those for later this summer for state down in Columbus, you know, like in August or something, just to try to bring everyone together at a lower cost event, we could try to do that as well.
Yeah, I think probably something we're going to discuss at the next meeting, since it's coming up on summertime. Doesn't really feel like it outside, unfortunately, but it's coming, and we need to start getting them planned. This body historically has handled the quote unquote state picnic, which is usually ends up being the shared central, because it's kind of silly to have two in the same place.
Right.
And we usually just do it here, so there's no extra cost. We set up a grill or two right outside the office. They've never said anything about it. We just set it up right there. Somebody brings food. The party will pay for some of it. We'll sell tickets, like I said, with a discount if you bring food. We'll sell discounted tickets for kids. And we've never lost money on that. That's always, even though it's cheap, we've always made money.
Yeah, we might have to do that this year just to try to recoup some of the losses from convention.
Well, I'm hoping we don't lose anything from convention. I really think that as long as they don't come back and say, oh, just kidding, that email we sent, we didn't mean it, we're charging you $2,000 in liquidated for the rooms, I think we'll be okay. Because if we sell, like, I want to say we only need to sell like 10 more tickets ish with at least more than one meal, business and breakfast and or full weekend between now and the date of the convention. I think we'll either be very close or we'll break even. It's an impossible formula, because it really depends on how much of each ticket we sell. I mean, it could be any number of ways would be different to hit break even, but just in general, if we sell like 10 to 15 more tickets, I think we're going to be okay. Probably not going to make a ton of money off this event, sadly, but that's just what happens when they don't give you a single concession on food and there's 3 fees tied to the food. One of them being...
Well, it's also what happens when we have a speaker we're hinging on, thinking it's going to be awesome, and they delay 3 months to tell us they can't make it.
Yeah, that was annoying. Yeah, you know, love Mr. Amash and the work he's done as a representative, but, you know, it was kind of messed up the way that all went down. You know, the first email that I sent to his assistant was, hey, you know, we'd love to have you. We'll pay for your room and board. We'll give you a meal. Let us know. I got an email back like a day or two later. He would love to attend. You know, let's just make sure that he's available. Cool. 2 weeks go by. I don't hear anything. I'm like, hey, have you looked into this? She's like, yeah, he has something tentatively scheduled, but we're going to see if we can move it around. Cool. Don't hear anything for another 2 weeks. Email again. Hey, have you figured out if he's got a scheduling conflict? Can he move it? Well, we're not sure. We're trying to figure it out. Cool. 2 weeks after that, hey, what's going on? Are you coming? And then like a week after that, she emails me back, oh, sorry, we can't come. So like a whole like 2 month plus debacle
2 months, yeah.
Of is Amash coming? Is Amash not coming? We had really hoped that Amash would be our Saturday and that Mr. Rainwater would be Friday. And then we would have like the greatest speaker panel we've ever had for an event. And, you know, I will take some of the blame for assuming that he's coming. But I do think some of the blame has to lay with his assistant for leading us on for so long. Super unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know, but Mr. Rainwater is a great draw. And, you know, I had no problem sliding him to the keynote slot, and he's been very easy to work with. I got to email him and ask which plate of food he needs. Although I don't think it matters. I don't think it'll matter, because we should have extras of each. You know, regardless, they make extra plates based on what we tell them, regardless of what number we tell them. So,
and if we don't sell more tickets by the cutoff, we're just going to tell them to make what we need to meet the food and bev minimum, right?
Correct. Yes. Or to get it close so that the cash bar will take us over. Yeah, because there's no reason to pay for something we don't get. You know, if we have to box it up and give it to homeless people, that's what we'll do.
Or even hotel staff, people working the damn event.
Right. Sure. Well, yeah, we'll see. But no, I mean, in general, they've been easy to work with. I'm just, you know, I'm disappointed that they didn't give us a single concession on food. They had a very, very high administrative fee, which was on top of a gratuity, which I totally get the gratuity. and then on top of tax. So we're getting hit with, like, I forget what the exact total is, but I think it's over 30% total of an upcharge beyond.
If I
the
remember right, it was
$39 plates.
33% when you include tax, gratuity, and
Yeah.
service fee.
So
Tax
yes.
is 7.5%. The gratuity was 15, and like another 12 or something for the administration.
14 or something for the admin, yeah. And so yeah, we, you know, $39 is the raw price per plate. That doesn't include that add-on, which is why tickets are expensive. And not my preference. Those of you that have been around a while know that I am always the one that's like, hey, we need to have lower ticket prices. You know, as the resident lower to middle class individual, I understand how difficult it is to pay for a hotel stay and, you know, tickets to an event. And, you know, I just happen to be slightly more involved and dedicated to the cause than a normal person. And I know that if I was just a random person, I would have a hard time justifying the expense.
Yeah.
So,
I had a thought real quick on the proposed motion that we were discussing. I actually have something that could possibly work that I might present as an amendment. Would be to change it so that business-only tickets will be sold for 2% of the venue's room costs. So if we're paying $2,000 for the venue room, their ticket would be $40, and that includes no meals, nothing else. We could come up with
that puts
something.
us at having to have 50 people to break even for the room. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, we're going to have more people that are going to join for other stuff. It's just that would give a Povertarian ticket, so to speak, for someone who just wants to come in for business.
Sure.
So,
and this idea of a completely free ticket is,
that's
as
right
much
out.
of a Povertarian I am myself, there's just no way we can do that.
If you can't afford $50, it's possible politics is not for you at this time in your life.
Yeah, and you know, it sucks that it's that way, but money is the lifeblood of politics, and we can't lose thousands of dollars every year simply to do business for people. You know, otherwise I'm going to make an amendment that says we don't have conventions; everything's controlled through the Central Committee. So get your butt to a Central Committee meeting. I mean, you know, the other route is we, you know, and it's something that we discussed as a committee, but didn't end up moving towards at this time. Maybe next time, you know, we have executive committee elections at a convention instead of in a Central Committee meeting to try to drive up attendance to the actual convention. I do really think a big part of our lower turnout this year is that we don't have a platform report because nobody wanted to change the platform. And all we have is the only business we're doing is Constitution and bylaws. I mean, it's essentially a glorified Central Committee meeting with food and speakers. And I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it.
Change the damn bylaws.
Right, there's nothing we can do about it. Constitution, this is the only place you can change the Constitution. So that's what's on there. Nobody wanted to change the platform, which is kudos to the platform committee that set the current platform. Myself and Mr. Pettigrew and a couple other people, I forget, but I really like our platform. And
simple, straightforward.
Yep, and it doesn't overlap with national. It doesn't like restate what they've said. Super easy to read. Anybody can take 5 minutes, read it, understand what we're talking about, and move on with their day. It's not like, you know, the National Democrat platform or the State Democrat platform rather is like pages and pages and pages of a PDF. It's insane. And the Green Party's is the same way. The Republican Party's is a little bit smaller, but still way too long. And, you know, it's always been our goal to simplify things because we're already operating on the margins here, and we know that people aren't going to take an hour out of their day to figure out what we're about. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe somebody will want to change something in the platform next time. We'll have a little bit more business.
Well, of course, if we had ballot access and we actually had candidates in a primary, that would be business as well. But we don't.
Yeah, we've had that in the past, and that drove some attendance. We you know, last year during this cycle, last time in 2018, we had 2-3 people, I guess, if you want to count. I don't even remember his name. One individual, yeah, who didn't buy a ticket, and somebody graciously bought his ticket on the spot. Yeah, not James, the other, the younger.
He shall remain nameless. We will not discuss.
Yeah,
him.
sure. I literally don't remember. we had that, and then we had some people who wanted to run for Senate, and he actually didn't end up on our ballot. But yeah, and then I ran for Secretary of State. I was the only one that declared, but we had people that were running for things, and we just don't have ballot access this time. And it's through no fault of our own. We are one of, if not the toughest state in the union to get ballot access in. And that's not in any way, shape, or form an exaggeration. It's sad. I'm on the ballot access committee for national, and I can't. Now that New York changed its law, they might be tougher than us. They have a 6-week period to gather a certain number of signatures, which is insane to put a cap on.
150 now or something.
Yeah, something like
Used to be
that.
45.
But they have like double our population. So really, the way I like to look at it is how much of a portion of the population is it? Because it's if you got a city with 11 million people, it's a lot easier to get signatures.
Yeah, but that's
We've got the
one
44
small
county
part of that state.
Right.
Most of that state is rural.
Yeah, I have family in upstate, so I'm familiar with the
Yeah, but
terrain.
do you happen to know, do they have the requirement that the signatures have to come out of half their counties like we do and all that garbage?
I'm
too?
not
'Cause
sure exactly.
doesn't
I don't
help.
think they do. I'm not sure their exact requirements. They also have some other different weird rules where other candidates can carry multiple petitions, but they do it. They still have to get 2 signatures, and every state is different. And unfortunately, like I said, ours is one of, if not the toughest. It's us, Tennessee, and New York. Really, are the 3 ones that stand out. In Tennessee, it's really easy to get on as an independent, 50 signatures. We also have the extreme hurdle of 5,000 signatures to get on as an independent. Our ballot is extremely restricted, and that's why it's historically basically always been 2 parties here because of that. That's how they crafted it. That's how they wanted it to be, and they got their way. We'll see. That's why we have had internal discussions about how to fix that. And I think having a sizable chunk of on-hand cash and continuing to build upon that is the way to go, so that we can eventually throw our weight around with money, because that's what changes things in politics, and get something changed. Whether that's hiring a lobbyist or what have you, or paying for people in our own party to get lobbying passes, and just showing up with like 10 of us at the legislature one day, knocking on all their doors that we think are friendly to our cause. Something has to give, because what we've done in the past is an extreme amount of money and for minimal results. So we'll see. The National Party, one thing I forgot to mention, the National Party, I'm kind of chapped about it, because the National Party does not have a ton of money right now. In fact, we're essentially struggling to pay our bills. Go ahead.
Mr. Gavoli is asking you a question in chat.
Okay. The National Party is essentially struggling to pay their bills, and then they just went ahead and allocated money